A lot more people are going to go towards the route that everybody's applauding, and you get the most congratulations rather than following your heart and what you know you want to do or don't want to do.
A lot of things that you are saying, I know it comes from you knowing what your strengths are.
I thought I had to chase who I was meant to be, but the more I grow, the more I see it's not about a role, a race or prize to claim. It's finding peace in my own name, just me becoming serene.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Becoming Serene with me, Ruth DeBonnett-Southall. So I am so excited about today's guest. I have absolutely no idea of what is about to happen, but I know it's going to be great because 22 years ago, around this time, I found out that I was pregnant and expecting our first child. And in finding out that God was allowing me to bring forth another human being. Of course, ladies who have done it, you already know I was a bag of emotions. I didn't know if I would be a good mother. I didn't know, if my husband and I, would be able to provide and give this child any and everything they always wanted. But guess what? After a conversation with God, I realized none of that matters. All that mattered was that I would train this child up in the way they should go, and that when they are old, they wouldn't depart from the love of God. And not only that, you know what else I learned? I learned that my life had been changed forever because I was no longer just Alan Pat's daughter. I was no longer just Travell's wife, but I was becoming someone's mother. It brings me so much joy to introduce you all to my remarkable 21-year-old daughter who continues to leave me in awe with her profound spiritual insight, her thoughtful perspective, and the eloquence with which she expresses both. From a young age, she has demonstrated a depth and clarity beyond her years, often speaking with words that pierce the heart and stir the soul. She is courage personified and blazes her own trail with conviction and grace, even as she navigates the often uncomfortable stretch of adulthood. Though she's an empath who deeply feels the world around her, make no mistake, she is not fragile. She is fierce in her compassion, unshaken in her pursuit of truth, and unwavering in her call to stand up for the ignored and the unseen. We marvel at her strength, we admire her courage, and more than anything, we are so incredibly proud of who she is. And we're deeply grateful that she continues to yield to God's hands, allowing Him to shape the powerful, purpose-filled woman she's becoming. And that someone is sitting here with me today, my daughter, Mackenzie Angelica Southall. Welcome to our couch.
Thank you for inviting me to our couch.
I know. She had no idea of how I was about to introduce her and what I was about to say because all of this is unscripted. Like, it's straight from the heart.
Yeah.
But I totally wanted to sit here. Since the name of the show is Becoming Serene, and I'm always talking about everybody's journey and being one that they designed, you have had, oh Lord, you have had a front row seat
Yes.
of all of my ups and downs, literally. My God, some things I definitely would not ever mention, but
Yeah.
this is totally open forum. I want people to be able to learn, as you already know how I am. You are quite similar. We have quite a lot of similarities. So, my darling, I would like you to share from your point of view how your faith has, your journey of faith, how it's been just you coming into womanhood. Like, let's just say that.
Okay, that's a.
And you can start wherever
Right.
you want, however you want, but that's just the gist.
When I hear the word faith, it all starts as a child. Growing up in a family, not just a Christian household, but a household where prayer and even the community that we have as a family was that foundation. So I've always said, when we come into this world, our mother is like our first God, and then she just directs us to and points us to the Father. My faith, when I just think about the word faith, it brings me back to a time where I've always felt connected to God, and you all have directed me to what that spirit or familiar spirit was that I was connecting to in my dreams or just connecting to always. But as I've been coming into womanhood, there's a lot of trial and error when it comes to a lot of things of this world. But something I've always stuck with is prayer. And through prayer, I understood perseverance, being patient, and not even just waiting for an answer, but changing my mind and the way I do things in order to receive the results that I wanted. And my faith in God stemmed from watching you. And this show now, everyone's going to see this show and be like, oh, Ruth's just amazing. She can just do anything at a drop of a hat. But like you said, I get to experience behind the scenes of everything that takes, and then what comes to be of that faith and the prayer and the fasting. So
This didn't happen like at this never.
Seeing the stuff on social media, they'll think, oh, Ruth is coming out with a podcast this week, and it took her a week to. Yeah. So
how long have we talked about this?
We weren't even in this house. Yeah.
And we've been here 3 years.
Yes. So I would just say my faith has cultivated into me growing into woman, and not necessarily I had faith and it's brought me through womanhood, even though it has. But I'm saying that to say you've always been an example of that, and I had more of a confidence and a knowing that, oh, God will certainly provide, because if he can do it for my mother, he can most certainly do it for me.
Oh, well, praise God for that, because that's the show enough truth. Yeah, I appreciate that. But I'm glad you mentioned that and talked. Let me tell you all, this one here is all God. This, I cannot take the credit for her intelligence, her maturity, or anything, because, baby, I tell people all the time, probably 5 times more than I have ever been, and especially at that age or at this age. One of the things that I want to ask about is, how are you able to demonstrate and walk the life that you walk at your age in this time? Because we don't see many young people, especially young ladies, speaking the way you do about your faith and your family and your community and everything.
Right. I will most certainly start off by saying I'm blessed to have the family that I have. Not many people come from a family who loves to get together and commune together, have conversations, and just join together out of pure love, and not necessarily like it's what we have to do due to tradition. Like, we genuinely love to get together and have a good time and break bread together. I would say it's not easy. Like, I wasn't born this way. I was most certainly born different, and by different I mean within the status quo of our social and economic world right now. I was one of the kids born asking those questions, observing and seeing that certain things didn't make sense. Now that I'm older, I just have a deeper understanding of people due to me wanting to know more. And through wanting to know more, I believe that quiet children, if you're quiet, you can observe more around you and understand more around you when you're quiet. So I had that advantage as well. But
let me allude to what she means by quiet. Mackenzie, still to this day, she is truly that child who's a fly on the wall. And she has an amazing memory. So if we talk about something, she's like, oh, yeah, I remember when that happened. And I'm like, what? You weren't there. Yes, I was. I was in the room. I was just quiet. You just weren't paying attention to me.
Yeah.
And she's always been that way, that she's not in the room, and she will not be that child that lets you know, I'm listening, I see y'all, I hear you all, but later she'll bring it up, and on the slide it'll just be, yeah, next time could you all not argue so loudly, and next time when you did this, Jacob and I would hide, and we would talk about, oh, our mommy and daddy getting a divorce, if they are, who we live with, all those things. She still does that to this day.
So it's not easy, and in a world like we are in today that's just very showy, trying to prove a point, trying to prove ourselves, I didn't grow up necessarily knowing who I was in this world, of this world. I grew up knowing I'm a child of God, and I'm Travell and Ruth's daughter and Jacob's sister. Like anything other than that, and knowing myself and I want to be this when I grow up. I'm good at this. I had no knowing of, and even to this day, 21 years old, I'm still trying to find out what it is that is going to drive me or push me. But with my relationship with God, I feel like I lean on him so effortlessly because I truly don't know, and I'm fine with not knowing because I know that he orders my steps. As for everyone else, it's easy to cling to what everyone else is doing and strive to be like everyone else because I sought answers in terms of my just perfectionism that I believe that I have, and not perfectionism where it's showy in my life where you can tell I'm perfectionist, but even when I write, if my penmanship isn't perfect, I'm not going to write. So I'm an all or nothing type of person. If it's not going to be done perfectly, I won't do it. If I'm seen trying, I won't do it, because we live in such a judgy world that I've observed when people do things wrong or don't go down a certain path, you're judged, you're crucified. But when you do things that people see that are socially acceptable, they're applauding. So of course a lot more people are going to go towards the route that everybody's applauding, and you get the most congratulations rather than following your heart and what you know you want to do or don't want to do and being crucified for it.
I want to know, are there any traditions or anything family oriented that you want to keep up yourself, you want to uphold, being a female? Mackenzie talks about marriage and family and all that a lot, which as a mom, it warms my heart, because to have children who talk about marriage and children, that means you're doing something right. I always feel as if, if I was doing something wrong, then she would probably say, oh, I don't ever want to get married, or I don't ever want to have children. Like if she sees me not enjoying it, because God knows I enjoy it. It totally is one of the best parts of my life. So are there any traditions that you do have or have experienced in our family that you want to keep up?
So many. But off the top of my head, the family get-togethers, eventually later than sooner, honestly. When I'm married and I have my own children, I want to be the house that brings everyone together. Like that's a torch that's passed down to us cousins now that we're getting older. And the tradition of course, not to step on any toes, but I do believe that getting married and then having children is the route to go, because there's so many disagreements, so many just energies that are exchanged through not going down that route. And also just continuing to talk to each other. It's one thing to get together, but it's another thing to actually talk and commune
I love
with
that.
everyone in the family. So I definitely want to keep tabs on everybody.
That's a mommy thing, yes.
But definitely holidays and just even spontaneous, hey, come over. I want to continue that.
Okay, for sure. Okay, so now let's go ahead and transition more into looking forward to becoming who you were called to be. You already shared that you're following the path that God, is laying before you and letting it work out organically. And you've gotten a lot of flack for it. We hear it often, like, is Mackenzie going to school? What is she deciding to do? What is she doing? And one of the things that your father and I decided early on, I think even before having you, is that whatever path you all decide to take, meaning our children, is going to be all your choice. And, with our support, of course, and with our guidance. But we didn't want to tell you this is what we think you should do, because both of us did graduate from college. We both have our bachelor's degrees, and both of us had other career aspirations that we're not even still walking in today. But we are both entrepreneurial. And so you all only saw us being entrepreneurs. Like, you did not see us working for someone else per se. Everything that, even when I did go back to work, it was still my choice. And you still knew that. When I came home, I talked about it, saying, hey, I'm doing this for now until God calls me to do something else. So how has that shaped your thoughts and thinking that you do feel comfortable, as you said, with just allowing God to lead your decisions?
I feel like my answers are going to be pretty repetitive.
Redundant.
Because I have seen you go through it. There's something about watching your parents go through something and being rewarded after they've been slain. And it's another watching your parents be slain and slain and slain for something that is not even within their purpose. You all have always taught purpose.
Amen.
And we saw the grit in that. We didn't just see, successes. We saw the grit in that. We saw the sacrifice. And although I'm now noticing that I have that gene as well, being entrepreneurial, and not necessarily don't know what it is yet, but I even took it upon myself to want to learn responsibility outside of you all, and getting my first job at Walmart, and now being a school aide. I don't mind working because I love the conversations I have within working and meeting new people from different backgrounds and actually problem solving and understanding people better, because once you do that, you understand yourself better, because you're able to look within yourself like, I could be a little better at this when it comes to being more kind, being more open-minded, and even extending myself when you see somebody's falling short. So I would say understanding that God is ordering my steps also comes with being present. I honestly don't know where God is taking me, but I trust that it's not only amazing, but something that He's prepared me for through working and through many things that I've been through that I thought, oh God, I messed it up, or I was disobedient and went the wrong way, and trust that He can most definitely form something beautiful from that. And that comes from my favorite scripture, Romans 8:28, is that God will ultimately make whatever decisions I made or whatever and make it all good for the glory, because I love Him and follow His word.
Amen. Okay, this child of mine. So, Mackenzie, since you've brought up so many lessons and, watching me, baby, let me tell you about something about me. She's talking about the good right now, but there's a lot of bad in these things, like, for real. So it doesn't have to all be good. She's making me look so good. Thank you. But what is one of your, and it doesn't have to be about me, it could be about Dad, but what is one of your favorite lessons that you learned in our challenges? Like, straight off the top of your head, because she's not prepared with any of
Yes.
these questions.
That honestly was pretty easy because Jacob and I talk about it all the time, and I think I brought it up to
Interesting.
you all. My favorite lesson is you're never too old to know and do better. Although you all are very influential in terms of being entrepreneurs and having that drive and even being amazing parents and understanding that we're God's children and you all don't necessarily have any kind of control on what our purpose is and what we're designed to do. I will say that's my favorite thing is you all saw things within yourself or had to look within yourself in certain periods in your lives individually, like you're married but individually saw things within yourself. Like if you all argued or fought a lot, it was continuous until you all had to step away, look within yourselves and be like, okay, I need to look within myself because this is something that I haven't healed from and I need to work on personally. So being in this house specifically, watching you all go through your own like spiritual journeys and also your own personal journeys in terms of health, but then coming together and teaching each other what you have learned about yourselves was something that I'm very blessed, and Jacob and I are very blessed to have parents who still work on themselves after being
Lord,
adults.
yes.
I believe certain adults become adults or even have children early and just think, well, I'm grown, so that's enough for me. I'm already grown. I learned everything I need to know. I don't need to change anything about myself because I'm older. I'm wise because I have a child who's younger than me and doesn't know anything. So to them, I'm wise, but I don't have to change for anybody. I am the way I am. So yes, the lesson in that is you all, it's never too late to further develop yourself, further learn more, and do better for the people around you. Because a lot of people live in that mindset of, well, I'll just be by myself if nobody wants to. Like, no, that's an issue. If nobody wants to be around you or even be with you, that's definitely an issue.
What's funny is that a lot of things that you are saying, I know it comes from you knowing what your strengths are, because I kind of require my family members to take a strength finders test so that they can know and operate in their strengths. And learner is one of your top ones, like myself. So learning more about yourself actually feeds you and fills you. So speaking of that, and I really don't even want it to be back and forth, a lot of questioning. I want you to feel free to flow. But another question that I wanted to ask you about lessons learned is, do you feel that the lessons that you've learned about perseverance and goal setting, is that equipping you properly, or do you feel like there's something that you missed out on, like I should have been further now? Why is it, that I'm taking this road and it's taking so long?
I would say when it comes to goal setting or even my perseverance, I've learned perseverance through, to me, perseverance is simply pushing my body to limits that my mind has limited me.
Dog, say that again. What?
That just flowed out. But pushing my body to push past the limitations that my mind has set. Damn. So everyone should learn perseverance. And I learned that through working at a 9-to-5 job. And sometimes I'm not going to say there's not purpose in everything, because there most certainly is. We just sometimes don't know it yet or can't see it. And I say that because when I was working at Walmart, spiritually and just emotionally, mentally, did not want to be there. Knew that I was fine with being home. I was only 16, so dad was providing for everything. I didn't necessarily need the money. I just wanted the experience. And the experience wasn't happy sunshine and rainbows and like I was coming to work and I didn't need the money. It felt like grit, and that stemmed from, it was during COVID, so it was just a lot of transitioning. Yeah, it was a lot of transitioning happening until I remember I prayed to God asking if I should quit, because I was known as a quitter during that time, because I had quit speech the year before, and just if I didn't feel comfortable doing something, I was gonna quit, because it was something within me that just couldn't take it. But within that job, when I prayed that prayer, I remember a lady came in, and she was a new coworker, and she first day stuck to me like glued to the hip, and would talk to me every day and became my mentor. And looking back, that was definitely purpose within that, because she affirmed who I was. And now thinking about that time, and now after my journal session yesterday and what I learned about when I was younger, and I learned that a lot of my perfectionism or wanting to come off a certain way to people or wanting to control how people perceive me stemmed from when I was younger. And my younger brother, Jacob, if you don't know, was an entertainer, danced everywhere, and everyone just loved him and always wanted him around. If he wasn't around, they asked him where he is. I felt like his shadow, or not even his shadow. I didn't feel seen or heard in the way that he was. And of course, I wasn't dancing or entertaining. A lot of my gifts
in public,
exactly. A lot of my gifts were stored internally, and like I said, I had a deep connection with God, so that wasn't going to be praised, because nobody can necessarily inherently see that.
Right.
So when during Walmart, during that time when she was highlighting the things that she saw in me, it kind of healed my inner child in terms of saying, like, I see you. And it was nothing or anyone's fault for not seeing me as a child. It was more so of the validation that I so craved. Probably would have been too mature for me to even understand.
Right.
But also now, walking in the light of God, because I may be walking in my purpose, I'm just not aware of it yet, but walking in that light, when it comes to perseverance, like I said, pushing my body towards or further than the limitations my mind puts on it, because we're conditioned from a young age and we don't even know it, because I didn't even know I was portraying certain just signs that I was still hurt from that time. And when it comes to perseverance, I just think back to when I was a child and experienced certain things and pushing through. And what I always say to myself now, and you have to talk to yourself. I started to talk to myself. You have to say, I've been through something like this. I'll get through it again. Life is a cycle.
You know what's so amazing about you talking and it's freaking me out? I'm like, I'm her mother and I don't know what she's talking about. Like, she felt this way, and I feel, I'm not sad. Normally, I probably would feel like, oh my God, why didn't she come to me? And why didn't I see these things and know these things, and probably think some kind of way for mothers out there that think you need to know everything and but feel everything. Because,
like I said, you've done a lot of work within yourself, so you understand a lot of the stuff your mother did that she had no idea about. You have empathy towards her as a mother, because you're a mother now, and just being like, well, that's something that's, for one, out of my control now because I'm 21, but two, me even coming to that conclusion, and three, it's not their fault. Like I said,
true.
Looking back, I'm not hurt by it. It's just a lot of my patterns now stem from me being overlooked as a child. And it wasn't that I wasn't taken care of.
Right.
I just wasn't validated or seen in the way that I feel like would have made me more confident to step into who I am today. Not necessarily sooner, but more confidently. People know me and know I'm so deep through my writing, or just through one conversation with me, I would tell you
they're having it now. Yeah, they
through one conversation with me, you would know me, because I'm not. I was about to say not an open book, but I am an open book. But I love being transparent, being vulnerable. I feel like that's my superpower. A lot of people in this world now are like, if you're vulnerable, if you're just up to be transparent and honest with people and upfront, and you know they probably don't deserve you, blah blah.
That's weak.
It's not. Yeah, it's weak, and you're gonna get taken advantage of. I've done it times and times again, and I've been taken advantage of, but I've never seen it as a loss. I've just seen it as, okay, you just can't handle what I'm given.
Oh yeah.
And of course, I do it within limitations of protecting my heart and protecting myself.
Okay,
I'm still learning, but I feel like that's my superpower when it comes to connecting with God's people. And to circle back to goal setting, I'm trying to figure out my relationship with goal setting, because there's so many motivational speakers, so many different ways to set goals and different things, so many things. I'm trying to cultivate something that fits for my life and my purpose. Trying to, even when it comes to like to-do lists, like even trying to cultivate things into my life, it doesn't like have to make sense, but I need it to actually help me, and I'm not trying to copy someone else who I feel is more successful than me. So I'm learning how my relationship with goal setting and even just the things that come with being on the road to success fit into my life.
And by your definition.
My definition, and even my walk with God, because I feel like a lot of things of this world, yes, if I were to follow a 5-week plan or a 10-week plan or a 10-month plan, I will for sure get there. But it's like, if I get there and it's not in alignment with what God has for me, not I wasted 10 months, because he would definitely use that, but it's like I would rather see what my Father says. Like,
I get it, and I understand. So for my audience that's watching who may have young children at home right now, and they're thinking about this entrepreneurial journey, and they're like, but my babies, oh my God, I can't leave them with just anybody. And what's going to happen if I, venture out and do these things? Dear child, can you share with the people how old you were when I started to leave you all at home so I can explore different entrepreneurial?
Right. Like I said, that we having entrepreneur parents. It comes with seeing the good, the bad, and the very, very, very ugly. So we were left home by ourselves at I was 7. Jacob was 5.
Wait a minute. Let's not make it sound as if
No, it's
this
not a
was
bad thing.
illegal.
No, especially during that time. But I was 7, Jacob was 5. But we of course had our cousins come and check up on us, or they were supposed to watch us, but
at 7 and 5 you had babysitters.
Our teenage cousins, not even teenage. They were freshly teenage.
They were still teenage.
They would have their friends over and everything. So a lot of my experience and observations came from just watching their friends come through and me observing different behaviors. So
that was not the road I was expecting that to take. But I'm saying also that you all turned out okay. Everything, God is a keeper. He
that's my
you
thing.
all.
I start to question people's faith and belief in God, and that's the thing. We all have our different relationship with God, but I start to question people's faith when I had a revelation earlier. Let me think of it, because it was about control. When people have faith in God and trust in God, and God take control over my life, it was something to do with control and stress, where we can keep talking until it comes to me, because that's how my words flow.
Okay, another thing that I wanted to ask about that is, do you have any thoughts about you felt neglected during that time of me working, building my business when you all were young, and I'm catching flights, and I'm, hey, you're with your dad now. He's good. He'll take care of you.
Emotionally.
Yeah.
I feel like
talk about
as
that.
the only girl and my mom's ripping and running, I had no outlet. And if my outlet was my younger brother, he certainly didn't understand the emotions I was going through. So it was often outbursts on him or trying to control him. But emotionally neglected because I had things and ideas and just things going on as a woman and the questions that I had from observing. So, yeah, emotionally, it was like, oh, yeah, I wish my mom was here, or like, wish my mom could impart to me during this time. Can't really recall a specific time, but definitely we was at our old house.
You didn't write me any notes and letters that you usually did? Or you just journaled about it?
I didn't even journal about it because I feel like even now I have trouble with journaling things that I wouldn't say actually hurt me, but journaling things that are raw. Like I said, I have a perfectionist personality sometimes, especially when it comes to my writing, which is ironic. But I don't write down the very ugly because it's like not poetic, or I can't make it poetic or make it sound like something that could one day be published. I was thinking like that at a young age. So whatever is something that really hurt my feelings or hurt me, I'll just sit with it and like teach myself to sit with it, to process it.
Interesting. Yeah. Are there any of those things that you still sit with? Like,
to this day, a lot. Even now, I don't write as much as I used to, or at all, because it's like I like to sit with it, sit with the pain. Especially being 21, people indulge. I'm able to drink. I'm able to, legally do certain things. But it's like I like to feel my emotions raw because I'm practicing that emotions come and go in waves. So I just like to practice sitting in it. I want to start journaling because, like I said, I got revelation of why I have perfectionist tendencies and why I try to work so hard to be valued when I don't have to work to receive love. Like, I don't have to work hard or do things for someone to have love in return. So, yeah, I would say I'm working on it, but I like to sit with it and like sink in it. Kind of like it's the feeling of when you get in the pool and you like go all the way to the bottom and you just like hold your breath. And you just...
I understand. Okay, now you've mentioned two different things that have caused you to not be seen and now not feeling heard. So in that and being, like you said, I'm going to call it like going into a shell instead of sitting at the bottom of a pool. Right. I feel that sounds a little bit safer. Do you feel as if you have a way to communicate with anyone? I don't even want to say it has to be me, but is there any way that you do see yourself like these are my people? Like I feel seen and heard by this group of people, because this is news to me, and I'm sorry I had to invite y'all in this conversation, but it's the truth. Whatever had to happen, and I'm here for it. They know that. Right. But for real, like, do you have someone to talk to and go to besides your brother? Because I know you do with him.
The thing is, I have people, but I'm in a stage of my life where I don't vent. There's no need for me to vent. I pray to God because he's the only one who can ultimately, not necessarily fix it, because sometimes God is not going to fix it or take it away. It's something I have to go through. But God, I don't vent to people. If I'll go to people when it comes to something that happened and me just needing to be vulnerable and transparent. And even if something is going on in my life and people ask, hey, how are you? Not good. Like, I'm ultimately honest. And I believe that more people should do that. Even when I'm at work, when they were asking, oh, how are you? I'm like, oh, I just got broken up with, or I just got cheated on. Like, because I feel like that opens up room for more conversation, or even more.
That's how you share it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
More relatability in this world. So, I try not to vent, because venting to me is just a cycle of, I would just say, bad energy, like constantly repeating something bad that happened, the negative, and being reassured about it. Like, I know what happened. I don't need to tell anybody every detail just for them to validate the bad experience, you know? And that comes with knowing myself and just being confident in what I know. I don't want to hear somebody's point of view from something I experienced. So I definitely have people I go to, cousins, my brother. I have a lot of people I go to when it comes to what has happened and what I go through. It's no, like, preference. I would go to a stranger. Because, like I said, I like for people to understand, hey, you're not the only one that goes through bad things, or you're not the only one who goes through hard times, because it gets hard when you go around and, hey, how are you? Good? Or, oh, you on social media all the time. Everyone's on social media. We're just seeing, oh, this person is taking another trip. Oh, this person just got engaged. And this person is finally, like, moved on from what I saw. They went through a bad time. It's like, it's too much. So I like to bring that. It's a piece that comes with being like, oh, you got out of a relationship too. Me too. Around this time, it's like somebody else is going through this too.
Most definitely. Okay, my dear, I'm not necessarily going to say we're wrapping up this conversation, because we definitely are not. Everything is not for everyone. We're going to be clear. This is a process. And one of the reasons that I even said I want to sit down and speak with you and have this conversation at the beginning of our broadcasting, Becoming Serene, is that so everybody can witness all of our evolution. Is not just about me embracing the journey, but it's definitely about you, because like I said in the introduction, when I found out that I was having a child, girl, boy, whatever, I knew that my life was changing forever, and that I would be your first teacher. I would be your first example. And yeah, that's a huge weight. But it was one that I knew, like you said, with God, I was capable and able to come through and do it well, only because of him. It has nothing to do with me. So my question and wrap up question for you is you embracing your journey of becoming who you're called to be. As I named the show Becoming Serene, is because my middle name is that. Yours is Angelica. So clearly Angelica meaning angel-like and just reverenced by God. You know, it seems like it cannot be more suitable, of course, with how you've spoken and everything that you've shared already. But wrapping all of this up, my dear, what would you say you're looking forward to as we all collectively as a family build this entire business of Becoming Serene and beyond? Like, what is it that you dream? Because this is not my dream. I'm definitely, as you already know, making sure that you and your son, you and your brother are set up to continue to build the legacy that your father put forth and started. So
my dream would be that God gets the glory. Like, whatever he's cultivating and whatever his agenda is on this timeline, and toward our obedience, while also blessing us with the divine purpose for his kingdom, for his people. It's nothing more than that. I don't wish to be famous. I don't wish to even be an entertainer. I don't wish to, like, speak at arenas, and like, all of that would be nice, but in this time of my life, I truly feel humbled by trying to experience something outside of his will. And I want nothing more than for that to be achieved in this lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like it was most likely trying to be achieved in generations before us. And they most likely weren't obedient or adhering to God's voice. But I pray that, if anything, my goal would be to see it all happen. And even then, for generations to come, of course we won't see that, but for me to see at least part of it in this lifetime.
Most definitely. I love that. Yes. That is
I did want to finish about control. Something God put on my heart about control is we try to control so much of our lives while saying God is in control, but if God is in control, there will be no stress or no weight on us if he's truly in control. Going through my life now and walking with him and talking with him, I feel absolutely no weight about my future. I work at a school aide. Summer's coming. I have no job lined up, but I'm not stressed. I'm not even, I gotta apply. Nope. If God is truly in control, and I believe he's truly in control, why would I stress?
Amen.
You only stress when you're trying to handle everything. So
you get that from your mother, girl.
Breathe and just continue to trust God.
You get it from your mom, and I think you've heard it time and time again that I share with your father. You already know where I'm going with this, but God is my source and you're my resource. Mm-hmm. He is truly using you as a vessel to take care of all of us because that's your job as the head of the house. So, yeah. Great job. You've learned that lesson well. But it's the truth. You don't have to stress. There is nothing to stress about. We don't put that stress on you because we don't want you to get comfortable with stressing about what you need to do and take care of because that's not your concern right now. It honestly isn't. So I'm so glad you've learned that, and I pray that this conversation actually helps other mothers and daughters and just other women building their businesses with children, whether they are young adults already or whether they're young, but just be open to having these conversations. We're definitely going to have more conversations off camera. So that we both can deal with any talked about hurts and issues or whatever. But I'm so glad that she joined me on this couch. Like, this is just the first of many, I'm sure. Yes. But if you all have any type of topics or questions that you would even, thank you. If you all have any questions or topics that you would even like for us to discuss or bring up or bring someone to the couch to discuss with, please do not hesitate to just hit us up in the comments. But we thank you so much for joining us today on Becoming Serene with my absolutely beautiful and favorite daughter, Mackenzie Angelica Southall.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Girl, we are at home.
Come downstairs. All right.
All right, bye-bye. Until next time.